Hey there, lads and lasses. This here is Thunderhand64 coming at you live from the west coast of the United States here on a Wednesday. It is a little bit past noontime, and that can only mean that it is time for some Generations Minecraft server. And last week on Generations, we were on the server itself in survival mode. We were working on some terraforming, building out the beach in front of the hotel and stuff in our survival mode. That means this Wednesday, today, we're going to be in the creative test world, finishing up the final 3 features or so of the Baby Zombie Rush Not So Mini mini game. Okay, before I continue, I would like to express my regrets for that Kachi and I were not able to stream Kachi Time this past Sunday, and I didn't even give a notice for that, which is bad streamer. I had a rather long day at Disney, much longer than I expected to have. I was supposed to have just gone down there in the morning to bring my friend down there for his birthday, and we wound up, because we didn't plan it so well, we kind of just winged it at the last minute and wound up spending a lot more time there than we were originally expecting. And I'm an older guy now, and all of that walking just destroyed me. So we definitely have to plan better next time. So we didn't wind up streaming Kachi Time, and we wound up missing 2 Kachi Times in a row, which is not cool. So this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, definitely Kachi Time, definitely. So hey, I'd like to welcome in Lone Star. Lone Star, how are you doing? Super cool. Fellow buffoon and amazing Minecrafter in his own right, Mr. Lone Star 82, and fellow bass player. Fellow bass player as well. So let me see. Before I get too much into, before we log into the test world, there is something I wanted to show you guys. Yeah, okay. So every now and then, I'm okay, just tired from a long 12-hour shift. Awk. Your shifts are hard enough to do already, my friend, but 12 hours of that, I feel for you. You can just kick back and chill. Enjoy some Baby Zombie Rush. One of the things I wanted to show you guys is occasionally when there's nothing an engineer or even a former engineer like myself loves more is when we find a tool that just does its thing so well, right? And so one of the things that I was thinking on making for the longest time was an app of some kind that could organize or guide a player in the right order of enchantments to keep the enchantment cap down. So if there's not too many items that I have in the game that I use this way, where I put on a lot of enchantments, but there are a few. There are a few items where I stack on a lot of enchantments, and you guys know the drill on that. If you exceed a certain amount, you'll get the too expensive message, and you can't put all the enchantments on that you would like. And so there's a certain order and a certain kind of hierarchy that you can kind of calculate out that will keep you under that too expensive cap. And it's not that hard to figure out, really. But, on the fly, it can sometimes be a pain to do. And so I was about to create something like that because I've been thinking about doing that for a while. Just something maybe in Excel or some database spreadsheet or flowchart app like that, where I could just put in the item, put in the enchantments that I wanted, and then it would spit out the best possible combination in which to enchant or combine books and enchant to keep you under that cap. And I was just about to do that, and I thought to myself, somebody has to have done that already at some point, right? And so I figured, okay, I'll give myself a chance to search it. If it doesn't come up right away, then I'll make it myself. But fortunately, it did. It came up right away. So let me see. Let me show this to you guys. Let's go to display scene. Let's go to, I think this is display 2. Is that the one I want? Yeah, it is. And hopefully you guys can see this. And I'll post this link in the description of the YouTube VOD archive. And I'll also post this in our Discord too. This is a Minecraft enchantment ordering tool. And this thing is super, super cool. Built by Cal Henderson. So I just wanted to give that credit out there. This is super, super cool. Oh, look, it's even got a dark mode. Oh, that's nice. Awk. Saves my old man eyes. How's the weather over there? It's very hot over here right now. It's super hot. In fact, I got to check in with Kachi at his school every now and then. You know, son, did they make you do PE indoors today? I hope so. So it's hovering right about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, right? So it's what, 30, 34, 34, 35 degrees C? Somewhere around there. So yeah, you guys, you can check this out. Minecraft enchantment ordering tool. So the way this thing works is and that's what I like about it. The interface is super, super easy. Say I wanted to, now this is one of the items that I stack too many things on, and that's boots, right? And so you can choose the item you want to select, you want to enchant. I want to enchant some boots, right? And then you see the different things that you can put on boots, right? And then they will, then this will calculate the correct or the optimal order in which to enchant or combine books and then enchant to keep you under the too expensive cap. Did the storm pass over then? Oh, you must be talking about the Hurricane Hillary. Oh yeah, that was last weekend. Yeah, and thankfully, it was hardly anything at all. We got a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind, and that's it. So we are quite pleased. I mean, it's the first, I guess, potential. Well, I guess it's actually is a tropical storm, even though the impact was very, very light. But we've gotten here in Southern California since 1939, I guess. That's good then. No, that is really good. Yeah. A lot of people are like scoffing and complaining that, you know, oh man, that was nothing. It was just a little rain, a little wind. It's like, no, we're lucky. We're lucky that it was a little bit of rain. That's a good thing. Now, I come from New England. I moved out here in 2003. And so I'm used to hurricanes and extreme weather and everything in New England. We actually get quite a bit of them up there. And, you know, I've experienced quite a few of them in my lifetime. And so I was expecting a New England kind of hurricane, but I should have known. California. Yeah. That's fine, though, because we actually got more heavier rain during the winter and the spring, and it actually did a little bit of damage to our roof and did a little bit of moisture damage to our interior walls. And so we hired a contractor to repair our roof, and we got all set up to begin the work, and then the hurricane hit. And Mrs. Thunderhand and I are thinking, oh, crap. You know, couldn't you have at least waited until we fixed the roof? But, you know, it turned out to be, you know, hardly any kind of weather at all, which was very fortunate for us. I'm from old England, the original England. All right, so this thing, like I said, you pick an item like boots. And then you decide, you know, what levels and what enchantments. It'll show you all the enchantments that you can put on boots. And let me see. Curse of Vanishing, no. Curse of Binding. Unbreaking. So Unbreaking 1, 2, 3. Unbreaking 3. Soul Speed. And this is the one that kills me because I like to put these other enchantments on, but then I go to put the Soul Speed 3 on there, and that's usually what puts me over. Mending, Feather Falling 4. I always want Depth Strider on there. And Protection 4. And that's usually how I trick out McGilly Brogues in Minecraft. And that will always put them over the limit. But now, see, this will calculate, and now it'll tell you the optimal combination that you can use to keep it under the too expensive cap, right? So the first thing you would do would be combine boots with the Protection 4 book. So enchant the boots with Protection 4. That would be the first thing that you would start with. And then combine Depth Strider 3 with Feather Falling 4 books, right? And then take that book and enchant the boots, right? And then combine the Soul Speed 3 with the Mending books. And then combine the that Mending Soul Speed 3 book with the Unbreaking 3 book. And then that triple combination book, use that to enchant the boots, and it'll keep you under the cap. And so you can fit all of those onto your boots without getting the too expensive message. It's really cool, really, really cool. So that's a cool little thing. Like I said, I'll put the link for this in the YouTube description for the VOD archive, and I'll also post this thing on our Discord, because I just like it when it's just so satisfying to find a tool that just does its job well, and especially it's free and stuff, and it just yeah. Engineers are just thrilled over little things like that. It's like, dude, check out this tool. It's like, it's the coolest thing ever. All right. So, but enough with that. Let us get on with some Baby Zombie Rush design. And I was hoping to log in some sort of silly position like this, or yay, hey there. Welcome to Baby Zombie Rush. We're almost finished. We're really close to being finished here. We're working on the last 3 features, and we were hung up a little while on the countdown clock, but we came up with a super, super cool solution the last time. And so we're going to work on implementing this now over into the game now that we've got it worked out. Yeah, that's handy because I've had that message a few times. We all have. Yes. Like I said, there's probably only 2 items that end up being too expensive for me that I put a lot of enchantments on. The boots are one of them, and I think my sword is the other one. I usually wind up putting too many things on my sword, right? Because the last enchantment I like to have on my sword is Flame. But I've stopped putting Knockback 2 on it. So I haven't really needed that. So I guess I'm down to the gillies. The boots are probably the only thing now that I really stack those enchantments on and I need, right? But it's just a really super cool tool. All right, so let's review where we left off here. Am I in creative mode? Yes, I am. Okay, good. Let's see. Let's do that, but that's what I want to do. Change my point of view. Okay, so we had worked out a much better way of doing the countdown clock the last time you see. I initially had built this huge, monstrous, greatly overcomplicated, but functional, it does work, countdown clock kind of system here, but there was just no way that we could shoehorn this into the build, especially on the interior, and I was going to have to be resigned to using this on an exterior wall, which I really didn't want to do. I wanted an interior space, maybe in the middle, but maybe I may move this into a different part for different contestants, because again, if you're a potential contestant, you could just watch this and figure out all the traps and stuff ahead of time, and that's not cool. That's not as much fun. So but this open feature is what we're going to call it. I'm not going to call it the middle feature anymore. I'm just going to call it the open feature. The open feature, if it's in the center, great. It may be moved off to one of the sides somewhere around here, or it may wind up being in the middle. It'll be different for each contestant, right? And but I do like the idea of it being more in the interior. I wouldn't have minded so much to have it on an exterior wall somewhere. I could have done that, like I did with the anvil feature. Turns out to be not on an exterior wall. It's actually outside of the rest of the maze. right? And that's so you can fit all the anvil launchers, because there's no way you're going to fit this into the game anywhere near it. It has to be way outside. It has to be located in such a way where it can't be seen from inside the maze as well. So this is the idea that we had for this, right? And we were trying to figure out a way to do this. And then it had occurred to me that morning of that stream, the stream before last Wednesday, was as I was reviewing my little Redstone contraption reference area over here. I have a container output measuring device over here where you can put a hopper or a barrel or a chest or a dropper or a dispenser or whatever, and you have the comparator after it, and when you put the items in, it'll measure the strength of the signal coming out. And that's when it dawned on me that this is actually our countdown clock. So as you can see, we pretty much worked, and it just fits like a glove in here. It's just beautiful. It's just fits in here so easily. And then so then we just had to work out the amount of items to put into a hopper or dispenser or whatever it is we're going to use to light up a certain number of lamps. And that's what we need. So we had to figure out, we had to do a little bit of math to figure out an equation that will give us, number of lamps that we want lit as an input, and then as an output, how many items do we put into our system here to get those lamps to light. And so what we did is we just made some measurements, just stuck some stuff in here, and counted the inputs and then measured the outputs. And so what we wound up getting was we made a little data table of inputs and outputs. And what we figured out was that the differences in the inputs were constant and the differences in the outputs were constant. And that means our relationship is linear, right? And so our equation is a linear equation. It has that kind of form, y equals mx plus b, which you may remember from 9th or maybe even 8th grade math, depending on your, at least here in the United States. And if that's linear, then all we have to do is figure out m, which is the slope, and b, which is the slope intercept, the initial value, and then take the inverse, and then we're good, right? And so what we wound up coming out with is a slope of the change in y turned out to be 1, of course. 2 items, 3 items, 4 items, that's a change in 1, right? And then the change in the x's, I'm looking back at my work on the whiteboard here. The change in the x's, 1, 24, 47, the inputs, those are constantly changing by 23, constantly, right? So our slope is a rise over run, right? The y is over the x's, change in y over change in x. So we get 1/23. So we have y equals 1/23 x plus b, and then the b is the slope intercept, so we have to figure out what that is. So we just take any of those coordinate pairs, the input and its corresponding output, we plug them in, substitute them into the equation, solve for b, and then we get our initial value, which turned out to be 45/23. So we have y equals 1/23 x plus 45/23. So what that does, though, is that says you tell me the number of items to input, and I'll tell you that the number of lamps that will be lit. But we actually want the inverse of that. We want you tell me the number of lamps you want lit, and then I'll tell you the number of items you need to put in. That's what we want. So we need the inverse of that equation. So that's just switch the x and the y, and then solve for y. And that gives us a very nice equation that's, let me see, y equals 23x minus 45. So we take how many lamps we want lit, we multiply it by 23, subtract off 45, and that's how many items that we need to put into the system to get those lamps to light. And it turns out that we wanted this to light about 13 lamps. Right? Initially, I had 15 lamps, but I decided 13 was a little bit better. It counted down close to 2 minutes, 2 minutes being 120 seconds. This counts down at about 117 seconds, And that's close enough. I like that. It doesn't have to be exactly 2 minutes. I'm just figuring, we just tested this a couple of times with some practice runs, and we're figuring that we're going to give the player about 2 minutes to do their thing here. And you may remember the sequence. The player comes running over to here, runs across the pressure plates. The gate drops, they enter in, the gate comes back up so they can't get back out. Baby zombies are behind them. They juke the baby zombies. Hopefully they live through that experience. The top is open here, so the sun should burn them. And then once they are dealt with, the player can then look around, right? Press some buttons. Maybe good things will happen. Maybe bad things will happen. Maybe just kind of neutral things will happen, right? So the idea is to keep the player guessing, right? Keep them guessing. Because in Baby Zombie Rush, when you're presented with a button, it could be beneficial, could be detrimental, or it could just be benign, could be neutral, right? So, and then as they're looking around, hopefully they'll notice this, and they'll notice it counting down. Okay? That's the idea. They'll notice this thing counting down. And they'll understand, oh, wow, I have a time limit here. When this thing hits all the lamps are unlit, the countdown completes. Then something may happen, right? Or something will definitely happen. But different things will happen for different contestants, right? One of the things I want to initially have happen is baby zombies will come raining down from the sky. I'm thinking about 10 baby zombies will come down from the sky, and they will land in different locations around the map, right? So that's one of the possible things that will happen, right? And once they fall from the sky, that will give the player a chance to see them, to understand what's happening, and then this gate will drop. These pressure plates will be taken out. This gate will drop. The player can then run out. But then the gate will come back up and the player can no longer access the open area for the rest of the game. And then they go on through the map, but now baby zombies are scattered throughout the map. It may be more than 10, right? Because I think 10 might be not enough to really pose that much of a threat. So we'll see what happens. It may wind up being more than 10. 42. So that's our idea. And so I wound up going with 13 lamps. And then if we use our equation, we multiply that by 23, we subtract off 45, we get 254, right? 208, 230. Well, yes, 254. And that works out to be, what's that, a little more than 3 stacks? That's 192. Yeah, I have it down there. So 192, that's 3 stacks. That's almost 4 stacks. That's 3 stacks with a remainder of 62. So that's how many items we would have to put in to our system here to get 13 lamps to light. All right. So the way this is going to work is when they cross the entrance, the gate drops and they cross the entrance, and then the system will begin inputting item by item, the 254 items one at a time, and then these will light up as the amount of items increases until we reach the max amount of items, and then it'll stop. Now, what I would actually like to have happen is the opposite. I would like them to cross into the arena, have the whole strip light up, and then have them shut off one by one. And I think I know how to do that. I've got some ideas. But our challenge with that is that we don't really have a lot of room in here in which to work. If I need to, I can make the wall 5 wide instead of 3. I really don't want to do that, but I can if I have to. I'm thinking that it's going to tip off the contestant a little too much. Probably not when they're running through the maze, running for their life, and they have a horde of baby zombies, bloodthirsty baby zombies, hot on their heels. Maybe that will, maybe they won't really notice that. But I don't know. Some folks are kind of sharp, and they're really quick. So I would like to keep it 3 wide to keep it consistent with the other walls, if we possibly can. All right, so the idea is to incorporate this system into that system over there, and we're going to begin that now today. So, all right, so let's get on over here. And let's begin this. Let's see what we can do here. Let's knock out a cavity in here in which we can install some components. Right, let's take out that. I currently have 15 lamps in here, and like I said, I only wanted 13, so there we go. And we can take the signs off. We don't need that. All right. And so the idea is when they come through here like this, they step across those pressure plates, the gate drops, they come in, and the gate drops long enough for the baby zombies to all file in behind them, and then the gate comes up. So that does happen. Now, what I'm thinking on is giving the contestant 3 tries at the maze. And there's a slight problem with doing that, and that's restocking and resetting the maze each time. So what I'm thinking of doing is building 3 duplicate mazes. And if the player's running through the maze, playing the maze, and then they die, they will spawn again outside the maze, but they'll proceed to an identical maze that's already preset, and they'll start at the beginning again and then proceed from there, right? And go through the maze again. And then if they die in that one, again, highly likely, they will go on to a third one that's a duplicate, right? And so that's the idea. They have 3 tries at it. I'm thinking that's plenty good enough. And so I was thinking on changing this for each one of them. But I don't know. Again, you can't make it too hard for the contestant. You got to give them some sort of something that they can use. So prior knowledge after their run, their initial run or their initial 2 runs, I think they should be allowed to have that. But if you disagree, let me know. But I think that would be because again, if you make it too hard, then their chance of winning is next to nothing, right? Or winning is really just completing the round, right? So. All right, so we have a couple of things to do here. One of the blocks I like to use for substrate for my redstone circuits is the smooth stone. And I just tested, you saw me jump out there. I just tested this on, and you can't see it at all from outside, so it should be fine. Let's start with that first. Okay, that's good. Now, again, what I want to have happen here is I would like these to all initially light up and then to shut off one by one. And I'm trying to imagine how to do that. Because doing the opposite of that is really easy. So let's just set up the opposite first. Because having them all light up, having them all off initially and then lighting up one by one isn't the worst thing, right? That's certainly acceptable. I just like the idea of them coming in and having the whole strip lit and then shutting off one by one. I think is a more intuitive kind of way to do a countdown. So, but let's set it up backwards first because that's easier. Let me see. I believe that I use target blocks here. So target block like this. And no, it doesn't have to be all in caps, hands. Target there. And I was doing something like this. Like that. And then I was using one block like this. It's a little weird, but the initial signal coming out of whatever container we're using, hopper, dispenser, whatever, initially powers 2 blocks. And so if you have one non-lamp first, then you can do the 13 blocks after that. So it doesn't, so the lamps don't proceed from 1, 2, 3. It starts from 2 and then 3, 4, 5 for the inputs. Yeah, because that's more like a countdown than a count up. Yeah. Again, a count up isn't the worst thing in the world either, right? I mean, it still sort of makes sense, but I think it's just the default of just having the bar entirely lit and then shutting off one by one. All right, so we can do that. Next thing is very, very easy. We put the redstone here. I think one of the other reasons why I went with 13 instead of 15 is because if we reach the redstone power limit for the amount of blocks that it can power, and but if we use a repeater, that wipes out the idea of the clock, the way that the clock works, right? Because then it just boosts the signal strength right across, right? So let me see. We have this. And this will definitely work. I did want to have a look at this first. Because shoehorning this into place is going to be a little bit tricky. Yeah, so I did something like this where the comparator's there. And I'm using a hopper. And one of the ideas with the hopper is that when all of the items are in the hopper, it can afterwards it can dump the items and collect them so it can reset. But I think that's actually going to wind up. That's what's going to wind up helping us do this in an inverted way. Wow, try to say that. Comparator. No, that way. Okay, cool. All right, so again, the idea would be as they come in and the gate drops, when the gate drops, then the maximum amount of items would be dropped into whatever is being measured by the comparator. And then they would leave that container one by one. In my head, a countdown would give more fear. That's what I'm thinking, right? A countdown kind of generates more tension, right? Or just fear, anxiety, fear, tension. That's what Baby Zombie Rush is all about. Yeah, and so this is what I'm thinking, right? All the items get dumped into some sort of item container, and then from there they get removed. They get removed one by one. If they're just dumped in there all at the same time, then these will light up. The total amount will light up all at once, right? Is there a picture of something nice that you could put at the end of the counter? Maybe. You know what? You know what might be a good hint for that, Lone? And that's a really good idea, actually. And I don't know. Somehow I'm thinking counting down from right to left. Make them think something's nice is coming. Maybe. Or you know what? We could just be really straightforward with it, right? You could just be really straightforward with it, right? You could be like, "Oh, what is this? Oh crap!" Right? I mean, you could be, right? Or you could be really deceptive, like you're saying, and put something nice here. Or we could put some sort of graphic that would give us a question mark, right? So that might be like a sign, right? So we could do, but Lone, that is a darn good idea, man. That is a darn good idea. You know, I would like it to be a little bit bigger than this, but this might be good enough. And then, let me see. Let's get some red dye. And then some glow squid ink. Let me see. What's the opposite of red? It's probably green, right? It's not probably green. It definitely is. But I was thinking contrast-wise. I mean, that's a little smaller than I would like. So I don't know. Maybe some map art there, right? Somewhere else in the server, I can make like a little map art with a little bit bigger, like a question mark or something right there. Love it. Yes. Well done. See, that's what I like about the design stream and allowing back seating, because, you know, Lone, if you hadn't mentioned that, you know, I wouldn't have done that. So. But that definitely that's evil. Or you could change it for each player, like you said about changing room position. Yeah, that's true. We could change it for each player, right? You know what else? One of the pictures we could put on there also could be a map of the maze, right? With the locations in which the baby zombies will be dropping, at which they'll be dropping. If it's a small one block graphic, that might not be obvious as to what that is immediately when you glance at it, because think about it, it's 1 2 3 4, it's what, only 16 pixels by 16 pixels. Oh, I think though the maps have a little bit higher resolution than that, but still that might not be obvious, right? Also, I'm not sure how the glass above the maze would affect that, because this is all that tinted glass, because it's got to protect the babies from the sunlight in those locations. So, but I'm thinking some sort of graphic like that, though. I really like the question mark, though. I really like the question mark. Thank you, Lone. All right. So again, now I got to think of something here now that's going to help us out with this. I just gotta think about this carefully. First of all, I need something that's going to spit all of the items into a container at once, not put them into the container one by one. It's just gotta puke them right into the container all at the same time, so we get the whole strip lit up instantly, and then from that container extract them one by one. Right? Extracting them from the container one by one is really, really easy. It's just okay, the other thing we could do is keep them in what we'll call the initial container, right? And just interrupt the redstone circuit. And then when they trip the gate, a conductive block comes down and completes the circuit. Yeah, that could be. We could do that. That would probably be a much easier thing to do, right? So let's so I'm thinking maybe the conductive block right here. All right, let's see if that's going to work first. So let's get let's just get for testing purposes, if we take a redstone block like this, it'll power all the lights up. So what I'm thinking is just have some sort of conductive block here. It might also be a lamp, but we just got to see if that changes the signal strength at all. And it does not. All right, so this is my idea, right? We can have this thing get set into place when that gate opens to complete the circuit, right? So we can do that. The thing is how to fit that in this wall area. And it has to be on this level too. So yeah, now of course you can put a piston there, but if I put a piston from above, the piston is going to have to be at this level. And see, it's going to stick up a little bit too high. Right? And so that's a little too visible, I think. So, yeah, having that like this. So when the gate trips, it'll come down, it'll power this piston and push that block into place. Right, and it'll complete this circuit and allow that to light up. So that's a good little idea. That'll help us out. But this is a little too tall. I think from down here, well, yeah, see, from down here we'll be able to see that. And I really wish we wouldn't. Another thing might be to put it sideways and put it over that. Like this. Like this. But this signal may affect that. So again, it's the problem is you have to work with stuff, right? If you have some redstone wire on top of the bricks here, on top of the blocks, that's okay because that doesn't show. So I'm thinking it'll just pull it over the comparator. It'll be fine, right? But that's too high up. If we have it down below, and again, that's going to show, right? So we can't have that. We have room at the other end, but that's a long way for the signal to travel to put the circuit block into place and then come back up. So that's a little tough. So how to shoehorn this into place here? Again, if we try to put it in from the bottom, we could fit the piston here. It's going to have to push it from here. Oh, up to there. That might work from the bottom, actually. Like this. That might actually work. We can put this here like this. I don't know how it's gonna go against those two blocks right there, but let's try it out. And we can do this just so we can see what's happening. Let's put our redstone power block here. Like this. Okay. And then we can, let's use a lever. Right, so we can push it up from below. That helps out a little bit. And then when it's done, it'll pull it back down again. The thing is, how are we going to access, how are we going to power that block? Because we need this block in place here in order to read the comparator and have the comparator output to there. We do need that. Tricky, very, very tricky. Again, that stuff won't show too, so we can get rid of that corner block. This one we should keep in place, I think. But we have this kind of thing with which to work as well. I don't know if that necessarily helps us, but... let me try this. There's something I wanted to see. Removing that redstone block just gave me an idea. So if this initially, now how many items? We were talking 3 stacks, almost 4 stacks, right? So San and then we need to remove 2 from that. That's how many items we're supposed to have. Like this. Now, the reason why it's... we're a little too low, right? Yeah, it's not going to read that down there. And again, I have the hopper pointing down because I want the items afterwards to be shot downward into some sort of collector. Okay, so for right now, let's just put that there. And this here, and that there, like that. Okay, and you can see the signals coming out, right? And then we can take a lamp. And then the lamp will do that. Okay. And so I'm thinking the items are already in whatever container we're going to use, right? And then when the gate activates, this conductor block moves into place, lights up the whole thing, and then as the items are taken out one by one, the lamps... uh-oh. What has happened? Has this affected our signal output? We're getting 4 less blocks than we should. Why is that? Is our math wrong? Oh, yes, it is. Our math is right, but better. And let me see. How much for that last one? Oh, you know what? There's something I didn't take into consideration. Is I think I got my rate for the hopper is a little bit different than what I expected. There was something I wasn't considering on that when I was doing my math. I left out a parameter. It should go up to 11, I'm thinking. So when we hit 12, will that do it? Not quite. 23. Not quite. That's interesting. So 19 is it. So I'm going to have to look over my multiples and see what's up with that so I can come up with a better equation than that. What is going on with that? Because that's different than what we measured here. All right, well, I'll go back and work that out. But the more important thing is, we just fill it up until we get the amount of lights that we want, right? Now, there's a couple of mechanisms that for which we have to think about. Again, we were also not using a hopper. We were using a dispenser. And I think we're using a dispenser because we could initially load the dispenser and then have the items being pushed out of it. Right? So, and maybe a dispenser's rates are a little bit, or its capacity is a little bit different. And do I want a dispenser or do I want a dropper? I think I want a dispenser, right? And I'm thinking, do I need a hopper between a dispenser and a barrel or a chest, right? So I think I do, don't I? And if I'm going to do that, the dispenser has to be readable. Like that. I mean, if we have to use a hopper, that's not a big deal at all. Not a problem. But let me think. And then I can go build one of these to actually activate the dispenser. So I can build one of these dispenser circuits here, right? Like this is an easy one, right? Certainly no lava, right? This is for an incinerator, right? But the dispenser's like that, comparators on that side of it, and there's your two with a sticky piston like this, right? This I think we can fit in sideways. But this will actually be a little bit easier. I'm trying to think because this relies on the dispenser to be already loaded. But usually what we have for an incinerator like this is we have this kind of a thing. We'll have something like that, and then we'll have a chest or a barrel or something. And this is what I'm thinking, right? With the typing hands, really? Come on. So it's doing this kind of a thing, right? It's bringing the items through one by one. This is a dropper. It should be a dispenser, I'm thinking. Let me think. Right. Fuck. I don't know why I'm getting this, because this should move up into place here, and it should just go tick, 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 and push them right down. I think the hopper is slowing it down. That's what I want to have happen. And then when it's done, it shuts off. All right, we did start at noontime. It is 1:04. That means it's time to switch to standing mode. And let me see, we're on gold coins right now. But I think I started the stream music a little late. So, all right, let's switch to standing mode. And we're about halfway through. All right, but right now, let me do some adjustments here. There we go. So we have to reconfigure this a little bit. This will run until it's empty. So the way this works is an initial amount goes in. This detects it, or a redstone signal comes out. Right, this observer sees it. It pushes this up into place, and then you get a redstone signal that starts removing blocks. As long as there are items in here, this is going to keep circling this around like this. And then when there are no more items, no more power will come out, and it'll stop. So we need something like this to work, but if we had the items already in here, like this. All right, so let's do that. The items were already primed. Now, what would stop this from going up? But if we put power to it, then it would go up. All right, so again, I think it might be a situation where we need to block this. For example, it might be a situation like that. Where they come in and then the tripwire, the gate activates this piston, pushes this into place. All of this runs, right, until that's empty. That could do it. This is a little wider than we would want it to be, though, I'm thinking. Maybe. We could do the same thing with this block up here. We could keep that block into place, and we could like temporarily slide that block out. But we would get this kind of a thing happening, where it would be loaded to go like that. And then somebody steps on the gate, that goes into position and then starts it counting down. The comparator coming out to the lamps would be off the side here. Maybe something like that. And then, of course, there would be a hopper down here. And then maybe that will get pulled out when it's finished. All right, let's try that. Let's just start placing blocks and let's see what happens. I think I have an idea. Let's see here. We can take that because it has to read the hopper. That's the thing. Like that. We need a sticky piston. Right, and it's reading items in there already. And this is, okay, as far as having enough room here in which to work, this is going to be a problem. One of the other things that we could do is bend this around the corner and put more items in, so this wouldn't be... Oh, hey, you know what? You know what the deal is here, though, with the two items? Yeah, we could bend that around the corner like that and just make this longer. It would be technically like lighting up more lamps, except some of the blocks wouldn't be lamps, right? I'm just trying to think of a way to have this preloaded, and then when they stop, it stops counting down. Right, so observer-wise, you would need one observer here. And then the other observer would go here. And let's do this. And is that reading this, or is it reading... It should be reading that. Yeah. Okay. And we said, what, it was 19 blocks? Like that. Now, see, now we're getting a bit of a different output. But you know what? We don't need this now. Because we're thinking of putting this... Oh, that's why. That's why. Because I think we were missing that powered block there. Yeah, and it's different for a dispenser than it is for a hopper. That's why. So my measurements and my math were based on a hopper, but I'm using a dispenser now. Dispenser a little bit different. So let's just build up the items until we find out how many we need for a dispenser. It's probably going to be close to filling it, right? And then we just need enough to get that last block. This is probably where 23 or 19. Probably 23 because it's a dispenser. Now, see, if I used redstone enough, I'd have these memorized. Yeah, say it's 23. Yep, that's better. Angel Bayou gifted Vio. Oh, thank you so much for gifting Vio that sub, Angel. Thank you so much. Hey, Thunder. Hello. How are you, Angel? Did you just drop? Good Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you just drop 5? 6? Stop. Stop that. Stop it. Good heavens. Look at this. So a sub to Vio, a sub to Kai. 1 to Oscar. Okay. But 1 to Chris, 1 to Flying. Please, please. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. That is super sweet. Oscar for Oscar Diggs. That's right. Who is not a buffoon, by the way. But still, I appreciate the sub. Super, super cool. But he's an amazing builder. Oh, he certainly is. Yeah, Oscar and I go back quite a ways, actually. Angel, Angel, Angel. How are you doing? I could not be doing better. Thank you. And I'm doing a whole lot better now. Thank you so much. So Angel Bayou is a member of our Buffoon alumni and one of our honorary buffoons. And she is an incredible streamer in her own right and stuff. So you should definitely go check out her stream. And let me see. I think you moved your Beat Saber stream to Wednesday, right? Today? A little bit later on? Show me your redstone magic. It's not magic yet. I'm not pulling rabbits out of hats yet. I'm like making the hat, and I'm growing the rabbit. Oh, but not today because you're not. Oh, I think you're traveling right now, right? I thought I read that in your Discord. That's right. Shut Mountain! Except when she streams from a hotel, then it's just crazy. And the mighty Shut Mountain, our moderator, friend, and fellow buffoon. Shut, welcome in. So this is very, very cool. We have Lone Star, we have Angel, and Shut Mountain. How can a streamer go wrong? Shut, you must be making your commute home from the job site. Okay, so what I'm thinking here is going to happen now is when I power this and this empties this dispenser, that these should shut off one by one. That's what I'm thinking. So let's take a barrel like this. Oh, with the caps. You know, I see lots of folks do it, and I should really get round to it. But usually on my keyboards, I'll just take the caps lock key like right off the keyboard. Right? But a lot of folks repurpose it for something else. But it's just, you know, my hands, I'm always accidentally hitting it when I'm going to tab to shift. You know, it's just... You know, I'm just not a good enough typist, you know, and I just don't have that kind of accuracy with these. These are smashers. They're for smashing things. And so they're really not suited for typing. But, yeah, on my other keyboard for PC1, I've popped the caps lock key off of there. I should really do that for the other keyboard too. I mean, really, what do people use caps lock for anyway? That's ridiculous. All right, so when I set up this observer now in place, it should start extracting the items out of here, and we should see the countdown effect happening. So let's... I don't like that. Oh, wait, it's counting down from left to right instead of right to left. But it is working though. Okay. I don't know. I picture it going from right to left for some reason. But it could be, our American, Euro, Western, Arabic number system, writing system where we read from right to left. So like backwards counting down would be from, or read left to right, but backwards counting down in a horizontal fashion would be right to left. That's just my sensibility for that. But I mean, it's working like a charm. I mean, that is a thing of beauty right there. So what we could do is, now when the gate drops, that I want this to start doing its thing. So what I'm thinking is to have the circuit run under the floor here and come up on the other side, and this mechanism is over here, and that will power it from the other direction. Yes, it shall. Yeah, there's no hopper on this right now. Putting these into the barrel, so duh. But the countdown is working just fine. I really, really, really like that. And you know what? You hear the dispenser ticking, but that's actually clock-like, so I don't mind having that. And again, this will be about 117 seconds, which is just a little under. Now see, it's shutting off this last block, so that's what's happening with the ticking there, right? And so you have to think it's 13 blocks, but actually there's a 14th block, like right there. So man, that is super, super cool. So we have an idea to light up the whole strip and then shut them all off one by one. I was thinking we're going to have to put some bulky kind of system in there with using torches and stuff. So I would have torches on all the time, and then they would shut off one by one, right? But no, we have a much better system than that. Yeah, I stopped at the deli first, though. Ooh, what'd you get at the deli? Please tell us. Get yourself a nice big honkin' pastrami sandwich, Mr. New Yorker. So Lone Star and I were saying earlier, at the end of the countdown, we wanted some sort of graphic for the player. And so we were trying to think of, I just initially put a zombie head right on there. Just tell it like it is, right? Because one of the initial things is we're going to have baby zombies come down from the sky. then Lone was thinking, no, put something nice on there and then do the opposite. Do something that's not nice. Set up a false expectation, you might say. But then I think we both agreed that just a question mark at the end is more exasperating. But I'm going to do something a little better than just a sign like this. I could do a banner, but the banner would be 2 of these tall. But I guess I could work out a question mark on a banner. Banner's just a little bit too tall, I think. The other thing we're thinking of is map art, right? Just to make a question mark out of map art. And then I think there's a way I can lock the map art, although I haven't done map art in quite some time. So that'll be an interesting thing on which to work. All right, so we have our system. We have our system into place here. We've solved a couple of big problems. Now we just have to flip this around and have the signal coming in from that end over to here. Let's take a look and see what's underneath us here. Oh, good. We don't have any other redstone in the way, at least in this configuration, although the gate redstone is pretty close. So we have to be careful. But the gate redstone being close is actually kind of cool because it's this redstone that we're going to use to kick off the countdown. And if any of you start singing that song from Europe, I swear I will find you. Now, again, the good thing about this is we have a little bit of redstone there. We got to be careful for that. But let's put about 2 blocks in between. But we have all of this to work with. It seems like a lot, but in a tightly cramped space, it's actually going to work out to be not enough. So I think we have that much with which to work. Another thing we're going to have to think of is some sort of way to come up from below. That might involve an observer. Let's test something. Let's just try that like right here, for example. And let me see, observer. Now, if I power that slab from below, we should be able to see, that observer should see that. Come on, hands, help me out here. Here we go. Now, please, observer, just see that. Just see it, and do your thing. Now, it probably did initially, right? So let's make some sort of indicator down below, like a lamp or something, so we can see it from down below. And then we'll go back and set this stuff all afterwards, right? Maybe I can do something like this. And let's put that there. And this, again, is just so I'm able to see it. And sometimes it helps to use a repeater here. So we can increase the signal coming out of the... like that. Okay, I was hoping to change the state of this slab. But you know the good thing about that slab? We might not be able to see that. Oh, yeah. We might be able to use a piston on this thing. Yeah, let's try that. So I'm thinking sticky piston. Like that. And let me think. Could we try something like this with a torch? So, yeah, see? Did you see the lamp light? Okay, so we're good there. So the default state would be like that, so it matches in with everything else. And then when the gate lowers, that would do that kind of a thing. One of the other things that we could do too is we can set it up like this. And again, the default state could be down so you can't see it from other parts on the map. Let's try this. Sticky piston like this. Let's see. That would be in the up position. So we would need to do something like... All right, calm down, calm down, calm down. just settle down. It's gonna... Yeah. I actually want to do... that. Thusly. Great. There, see? Like this. Instead of using an observer now, though, if I'm going to take this kind of a route, because, watch, if we pull that down, right, if we're outside the maze like this, this will be like this. I guess you can kind of see that there, but... yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That kind of sucks. Again, we need some sort of quasi connectivity here. Um, LOL. I hear you. See, the problem is with this kind of a thing is you need to maintain this gap. And the reason why you need to maintain such a gap wonder if this will work this way. Well, no, it just suffocates them. That's right. Dude. The reason why there we go. I don't want to kill Junior. Just you. Okay. See, the idea is if you keep this gap, if you look at little Arjun here. Arjun, stop it, Arjun. If you look at Arjun here, right? His height, he can see through this gap. So if he's chasing me and I round the corner and there's no gap here, he'll stop pursuing. They all will, right? But if I keep this gap open here, then he can see. If I go around the corner, even if I go around this corner, as long as I'm within 40 blocks, he'll be able to see. That's going to be another consideration too when if we do the option or when we do the option of baby zombies dropping from the skies, right? I want them to all drop in a location that's within 40 blocks of this open area. So the baby zomboids will be able to look through the gaps here and still be able to see us, right? If you want to look at their POV, that would be like right about here. You can see them over there, right? So they can see the whole map this way, pretty much. So they can see the entire map. But we can't because we're 2 blocks tall. Even crouching, we can't quite see. We can see a little bit, but not enough, I think, where it'll give a tremendous advantage. But my point is we could still see these slabs. And so if we see these slabs, and some of these slabs are out of place, then it's going to tip off the player. So we need some sort of wait. Is this the maze you've been working on for a while? Yes, I've been working on this for a very long while. But we're actually coming into the home stretch, Angel. We have the open area with the countdown clock here. This is the last major feature that we have to do here. Then we only have 2 other features. We have the start feature at the beginning of the maze, and then we have the exit feature on the way out. That's really it, and then we're done. We're ready to start building it in the survival world. I was thinking of putting this in the survival generations map, but I don't know. Now that I'm thinking of it, I might have its own map just for this. I might do that. Uh, uh, there was an idea too of building this in the Buffooncraft season 5 map. And I was thinking about that, but I've already heavily branded this as Generations, and so and for a very long time, and so um, I don't know. I just don't, I just don't feel like taking something from Generations and just pasting it in like as a leftover into Buffooncraft. That's how I feel about it. That's not the suggestion. Um, it's not the basis of the suggestion for doing that. It's just kind of like the way I feel about it. I think Buffooncraft deserves to have its own kinds of builds and stuff, and not just things. I do cross ideas though back and forth between them. There are some things that I want to build on Buffooncraft, and for whatever reason I can't build them there, and so I build them on Generations, and then I get ideas from Generations too that I don't feel like building on Generations for whatever, and I'm thinking, that's more like a Buffooncraft kind of thing. So this to me feels more like a Generations kind of thing, but an idea of a huge redstone build or game that has a lot of redstone that's not just a copied and rebranded version of Baby Zombie Rush for Buffooncraft, I think that's a really good idea. But again, I would like it to be its own kind of thing for Buffooncraft. I really would. I think that's a good idea. But this, like I said, I'm either going to build this in survival in the Generations map, which was my original idea, or I may give it its own map. We'll see. I can't wait to see it work. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I do like the idea of doing like a large level game like this with a lot of redstone and stuff in Buffooncraft. I really do. I just would like to have it be its own kind of thing, though. But we need a way to transmit now a signal from the gate underneath, do a quasi connectivity from the to cross this gap, and then activate the system from there. And I'm thinking my original idea with a piston is probably the way to go. So this would be the default position, and then it would pull it down, and then an observer would see that happen up here. It needs to actually go in the other direction. Because the idea is, even though this slab is half a block, it occupies the entire block. So if something happens to this slab, this observer should see it. And again, we could have torch like this being in the up position would be the default, like this, and then it gets pulled down while this system's running, and then afterwards it gets reset and it comes back up. Yeah. This might be something I'll have to think about. I'm sure the moment that the stream ends, when it doesn't matter, that's when it'll pop into my head. Like this. That's what I'm looking for right there. And let's take a look. Yeah. Now, the reason why I'm thinking so hard about this is I'm thinking, is there a way that what I just did could actually be part of the dispenser, comparator, this whole system? Could that happen here? Could this transmission part of this quasi connectivity thing actually be part of that? Pleasant Player is raiding with a party of 3. Pleasant! Thank you so much for the raid, my friend. That's why I didn't get the raid message, is because you were streaming while I was streaming. Raid! Woo! Indeed. Good to see you, my friend, and the raiders. Baconated coat. Good. Hey, Baconated. Welcome. B-Day Boy, good to see you again. How's life going? Life is going awesome. Thank you very much. How about yourself? What were you streaming? Pleasant. Let me see. Wednesday at let me see. 1, 2, 3:44. You weren't streaming from school, were you, young man? 3:44 now. Were you bowling? Or chess? It wasn't HSL, so. So you can see the shout out, the auto shout out there for Pleasant Player. Pleasant is a very good friend of the channel. We've done co-streaming projects together in the past. We played IE4 and died laughing. Why is IE4 not registering for me right now? Help me out with that. We going to war this weekend. Is that the Minecraft server in which you represent different countries? Oh, Industrialize Earth 4. It was a server with the countries. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Sir, I will definitely have to check out that VOD. Our stream, we're doing Baby Zombie Rush design stuff. We're working on the countdown clock, puzzling out our redstone for this. And we made quite a bit of progress, actually. We got the countdown clock to work. We puzzled it out down there with our redstone circuits down there in the test area. Now we've put it into the wall. And then we got it to work like an actual countdown where the entire bar lights up and then the lamps switch off one by one. So we got that to work. And now we're trying to figure out a way to, when the player crosses the trips into this area and drops down the gate, that action also sends out power along a circuit that triggers the countdown clock to start in running. So, and we're trying to do that in a way that's kind of not kind of conspicuous, but conspicuous enough here where it doesn't trip off, or where it doesn't reveal too much to the contestant. So. And I'm trying to think of a way to maintain this gap here without having anything really showing. And so we have to transmit a redstone signal across this gap. And so, like I was showing earlier, our default position would be something like that. Like this. And so from out in the maze, you wouldn't really notice anything was up at all. But when the gate is tripped, a signal will come down under the floor here. And activate that. It'll just drop that. And I don't mind if the player sees it by that time. The player will actually be in here. So that will drop. And when it does, that observer will see that block update. And then we can use that to power this system here. But we'll move these components over to there. And it will start the countdown clock. Now again, the countdown clock... let's get a hopper on there. That'll do. Again, this stuff won't be open here. This will all be closed up so the contestant can't see anything here. But let me see. We can do this. Oh, okay. That's going to cause a bit of a problem having a hopper directly on that. So do I want a dispenser now, or do I want a dropper? One of the things I might wind up doing is something like this, where... See, a lot of the time I need to actually see this stuff run. It's getting harder for me to picture things in my head nowadays. But I think if I do this, now I think if I just take an item and I just chuck it up there, right? Yeah, see, it'll work. Okay, good. So this should stay locked now. Yes, good. Okay. So we were doing this, I think. Almost. There it is. Okay. That kind of idea like this. And so the gate needs to trigger this up so this will pop up, or this will move into position like this, and we'll start dispensing down these items. They'll be collected into here. We'll do something about some of those. Let's get some glass. We'll put some glass there so we can see. There we go. And you'll see that the clock is counting down now, right? And these lamps will shut off one by one for about 117 seconds, which is close enough to 120, the 2 minutes that I was looking for. Lurk! And then Too Tall. Hello, Thunder in chat. Too Tall. Hey, welcome in. Good to see you. We have about maybe 7 minutes left of the stream. And so we're watching our countdown timer do its thing here. And you can see the whole bar lights up as the player comes in, and then the lamps shut off one by one. So now we're just tweaking this to, we have it to work. Now we're just tweaking it to make it work the way that we want it to. Instead of the lamps shutting off from left to right, I would like them to shut off from right to left. That's a little bit of a problem. That means this clock dispenser circuitry here has to be moved to this end. Not too much of a problem. But that means our circuit from our gate, our trigger circuit has to now run across underneath the floor and operate this over here. Not too big of a deal. Then, of course, when the last one goes out, we need to be able to sense that somehow, and that will issue a command block. It'll initiate or activate a command block. The command block, hopefully, I can get it to drop little baby zombies from the sky. And that'll be one option that happens. And then, like I said, for different contestants, when the clock runs out, different things will happen. But initially, that's the first thing that I would like to have happen. I think it's just too funny just to see little baby zombies start dropping from the sky. So that's our idea. So right now I'm trying to puzzle out with whatever time I have left, which is not a lot. What's the best way to get this signal to cross this gap and maintain this gap and everything without making it too conspicuous, right? So that's what I'm trying to do right now. But as I was telling some of the viewers earlier, we're actually very close to finishing this. We are very close. So its initial state will look a little something like this. And then when the gate is activated, some power will run over here, shut off that torch, and it will pull that slab down. That observer will see it. And then we will build this circuit over here, and that's what will activate it. So one thing we can do is we can just move all of this over here. That's one way that we can start. Thusle. Like this, and we put a comparator right there. Now we have that set for 14 blocks. If we wanted to do 13 blocks, we could remove that. And we could just bring it in by one and just put the comparator there. That gives us a little more space in here. We just have to change our number of inputs, which again isn't a big deal. Dispense all, so it can be red. Right, we could take those out now. And then we can put some sort of collection here, right? Then we're going to have this kind of circuit over here. That either way, you know, we have to read this block here coming out. And again, this might be a little bit of a problem. See, I might have to extend that out more just so I could kick this over so I'm able to read it. Because otherwise, I just can't make the best use of this space, right? So that's probably why I did that over there. All right, so I went and I took the comparator. It's unfortunate because it's kind of wasteful as far as space is concerned, but like this, right? Then I put the dispenser here. And what this allows me to do is now put another, please don't do that. put another comparator here. Now I can read this. And I can build this this circuit over here, right? Let me see. I have observers. Let's get the sticky piston in there. I think this has to be one below that, right there. That has to output here. That means this ultimately has to come up to here. That has to be moved up there to coincide. And that means this has to actually be that high, right? Yes. Okay, so the idea is when this comes up, it powers this, it empties this out, and then starts the countdown clock counting down. That's the idea. Now, the thing I would like to have happen is I would like the gate to move this into position. That's what I would like to have happen. And it's like, you know, working within the confines of this area. That's what's tough. But we are at 2 o'clock, and it is actually time to end our stream. But I like this. I like this. Again, we solved. Now, we didn't get the entire mechanism built and installed and everything, but we solved some problems, though. We did. We came up with some solutions for things. One of the things I'm thinking of, too, is maybe instead of putting all of this together all in one circuit here, is there a way I could split this up so I have some of it on one end and some of it on the other? I might wind up doing something like that. For example, I might wind up running redstone wire along the top from there. So it would come up here, come down here. Yeah, you know, that might be the way to go, actually. Yeah, and try to split this up on 2 ends. Yeah, okay. I'll have to work that out off camera, though. Hello, Too Tall, and hello, Angel. Okay, so we are at the end of the stream. Let's see if there's anybody to whom we can raid out. All right. Let's kill this volume. Okay. One thing that is a little unfortunate about this particular time to stream is not too many of my friends are streaming at this point. But what I can do, though, is there's a streaming channel called Shout TV. And Shout TV shows a lot of older movies and stuff. And they often have like a lot of the Japanese kaiju movies on. They'll show the Godzilla movies. They'll show Ultraman TV shows and Ultraman movies. They'll show Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and things like that. So right now, though, let me see what they're showing. And they accept raids too. So. All right. Let's raid out to them. Okay, yeah. So we had a little raid, a little ad break right at the end there. So we're back. There is our raid message. If you guys would like to join us, you can copy and paste that in the chat. And I always encourage folks, just follow along, just drop in. And if you don't have time to hang out there or anything, that's fine. Just drop in, check it out, say hi. And if you feel so inclined, you can drop a follow or maybe even a sub. That would be super, super cool. Let me get the cases right on this. There we go. I haven't raided these guys in quite some time, so hopefully they still accept raids. I think they do. Okay, the raid is counting down. All right. With that said, I would like to thank everybody for dropping by today. Thank you so much for stopping by. You guys really make this stream, and I really like the progress that we made today too. Super, super cool. Remember, we do this Generation stream every Wednesday from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next Wednesday, we will be back on the server in survival mode, doing the terraforming of the beach area outside of the hotel. So that will be super, super cool. Our next stream will be Friday. That will be from, let me see. I think, yeah, I officially changed that to 11 to 1, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Buffooncraft. So we'll be doing stuff on the Buffooncraft server. And again, drop by for Buffooncraft. Buffooncraft stream is always a lot of fun. We will, and then the stream following that will be Sunday 4 to 6. That will be without fail. That will be Kachi time from 4 to 6. Kachi has a whole bunch of stuff he wants to show you guys. So please make sure to stop by that. If you can't stop by, at least watch the VOD. Kachi streams are a lot of fun. Okay, with that said, let us kick off the stream. The raid, I should say. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you happen to be. See you next time, everybody. Bye for now.